Welcome to Light Her Up, your go-to podcast for exploring what it means to align with your passions and create a life filled with freedom, ease, and fulfillment. I'm your host, Natalie Bernacki, a mom, entrepreneur, and certified coach who left a 15-year corporate career to build a life aligned with my passions and help other women do the same. We'll be diving deep into topics like self-discovery, mindset shifts, and the courage to pursue the life you've always dreamed of. Thank you for being here and for prioritizing yourself. I'm honored to be a part of your journey. If you're ready to find your joy, reclaim your identity, and upgrade your life, you're in the right place. Now let's light it up. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Light Her Up podcast. Today, I had the opportunity to speak with Krystal Jugarap, the founder of Empowered by Women, and this conversation felt like such a deep exhale for every woman who is building a business while raising babies and trying to stay connected to herself at the same time. Krystal shared how entrepreneurship was always on her heart even before she had the language or the examples for it, and how becoming a mom was the moment she finally gave herself permission to stop checking the boxes for everyone else and start building life on her terms. It resonated so much with me. There were so many examples that she shared that reminded me of my own journey, so I know that it will resonate with you. We unpacked everything from leaving the good girl path to what it actually looks like to create visibility without burning out, to why community is the strategy when you want long-term success. You'll love this one if you're done performing, you're done trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing online, and ready to lead with clarity, boundaries, and a version of success that actually fits your real life. So let's get into it. Hi, Krystal. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Natalie. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like this conversation we're about to have feels so aligned for my community right now, and I'm just excited to have you here.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun.
I know. And we already feel like we know each other. We were chatting, for those of you listening. Somehow our circles are connected and we know the same people. I don't know if we've officially met before, but it feels like we have. So it just feels like this is meant to be.
That's honestly, I feel like I'm seeing that more and more in my life. And it's kind of a beautiful feeling, honestly.
Yes, I love it. So let's start with you. So for anyone meeting you for the first time, share a little bit about who you are and the work that you're doing right now.
Okay. So I am Krystal Jugarap. I'm a two-time founder. So I have a product line called Book of Bijou. It's an innovative jewelry storage. Very, very cute. I'm also a community leader. Empowered by Women is our community platform where we serve women entrepreneurs, whether they're product-based or service-based. We are hybrid and national in a lot of things, exciting things on the horizon. So I'm excited to potentially dive into that. And then from there, I'm also supporting some of the women in our network one-to-one with brand visibility strategy, because that is something that I get so lit up about, coming onto podcasts like this, and how are you layering community into it, and how are you bringing your true self into it? So it's really brand clarity, building the systems that support the vision that you're wanting to build, and then also layering strategic partnerships. Because we don't know, burnout is something that we're leaving in 2025. Okay.
Yeah.
We can get really strategic with the way that we're showing up, and we can achieve all of our biggest dreams without feeling like we need to pull our hair out. So that is, in a nutshell, everything that I'm currently working on.
I am so here for that. Like no burnout, no burnout. There were moments so I've left a 15-year corporate career and I hit severe burnout, quit, and then leaped into starting my own business. And there are moments where it's like, you're like, oh, I'm never going to experience that. And then you do, because you're not paying attention to all the red flags. But to your point, if you're working with someone that can help you set up the systems that you need, be strategic about it, you're far less likely to hit burnout and be a lot happier while building your business.
For sure. And sometimes I think it's also just we feel like we need permission to honor our own boundaries.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's not a great thing that we feel like we need permission, but sometimes that's really just what we need. And we know we need to lay out those boundaries. So for someone else outside of ourselves to just call it what it is and say, this is where you need to draw the line, that in and of itself is so powerful.
Yeah, it's so true because we can tell people that all day, but when it comes to us, it's like just in general, people need someone to tell them sometimes what to do or like to call them out. So, so what originally led you into this work? Was this always the path that you saw for yourself? And you have a couple different things going on. So, which I love.
It's been a very interesting journey, that's for sure. Entrepreneurship, yes, was always the path for me. I knew since high school that I was gonna be an entrepreneur. I thought I would be this big household fashion brand name. Spoiler alert, that is not what we're doing today. But I also didn't have that exposure around me
Hmm.
at the time, even though for some reason, I don't know what actually really triggered the fact that I knew that I would be an entrepreneur, but I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs. I didn't have
Mm.
exposure to that kind of lifestyle. Um, it was just something that I knew was on my heart, that I was meant to be part of something so much bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And if you look back at my job history, you'll see kind of this pattern of me taking on jobs that did give me some kind of autonomy, some kind
Hmm.
of creative authority where I would be on my own, or I would kind of create my own schedule, or I would get to be in this decision making space. And that for several years really just itched that scratch for me while
Hmm.
I was the good girl and did things very traditionally,
Yeah.
Got my graduated from high school, went to a normal college, got my degree, got a good government stable job, which is always wild to say in this day and age that the government is stable because
Yeah.
you all know what 2025 was like.
I know. Oh my goodness.
Got the partner, got the kids. There were still some untraditional moments of me. We didn't get married first, like that was not big on our priority list. Buying a house in the Bay Area, just we can all be realistic about that. That didn't need to be on the priority list.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where that itch was still there, that calling was still there.
Hmm.
And it was when I was a mom of 2 young kids, I have 3 now, that
Okay.
I kind of had this epiphany moment where I I was always still very creative. I grew up in a very creative household, and as a new mom, creativity was the way back to myself pre-baby. I know. Do you have kids, Natalie?
Yes, I do. I have a 6 and an 8-year-old. I can totally resonate
Okay.
with exactly what you're saying.
All of my fellow mamas, you know what I'm talking about. There's that phase after new motherhood where you're trying to find yourself again.
Mhm.
Creativity was that for me. And so I would do this DIY. I had this DIY channel on YouTube because I would like to create things. And as a mom, I would create things for my baby's birthday parties. And that was so much fun. And again, allowed me to feel like I had control over something again,
Mhm.
right? That's something that I was super passionate about. And so there was this moment where I was looking at all my jewelry. I used to sell jewelry, so I had amassed so much of it. And I was trying to find a better place to store them because it was taking up so much space. And we were living in a small, tiny apartment back then. And I was like, okay, we need a better solution. Couldn't find one. So, being the creative I am, I was like, okay, I'm just going to make one. This will be great YouTube content. It was the middle of the night when I was feeding my second daughter, when I was brainstorming what this would look like. And I realized the merit of the design. The next day, I hit the ground running. I took a old empty diaper box, an old notebook, some rubber bands, and I created the prototype
Wow.
for what became Book of Bijou.
Oh my goodness, that's so amazing.
I still have the prototype to this day. I love it. I'm going to keep it forever. But in launching that business, it also just reminded me of when I was selling jewelry and I had this beautiful community around me. And
Mhm.
I said, okay, if I'm going into business for myself, how do I recreate that community?
Mhm.
And so that's how Empowered by Women started. It started very, very casual,
Wow.
again, out of a need for myself where I did not have a network of other ambitious women entrepreneurs, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that was something that I didn't even know I needed since high school, and
Yeah.
that I finally was gonna be intentional about creating for myself because everyone says entrepreneurship is so lonely. I say it doesn't have to be. There is
Yeah.
community and support for everyone, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and look for it. So this
Absolutely.
was me looking for it and wanting to create it for myself. We hosted one event in May of 2022, so about 6 months after launching Book of Bijou, and that really solidified us as this emerging community, and I saw how much the other women in that event were also craving the same kind of opportunity, the same kind of connection, the same kind of energy. And it
Mhm.
just started slowly and slowly progressing. Again, no intention for it to turn into a business, just, okay, what are you guys
Yeah.
needing? Okay, I'm very solution oriented. Let's go ahead and create something. We launched the directory. That was the start of the membership of just be on the directory. Let's make it easier for communities to find you and support you. And then
Mhm.
again, that craving for even deeper connection, even more meaningful touch points. And now we are hybrid. We have virtual workshops, we have weekly mastermind calls, we have in person events, and we are gearing up for our third annual summit this year.
Ugh, I love that so much. And it's so wild because, like, what you're saying about your community is literally how Emily, my co founder, and I built ours out of need, where we were kind of just like on our own little islands, doing our own thing, building our own businesses. We went on a walk one day and she was like, how cool would it be if we just like got a group of women? And we were thinking maybe like eight. And then it just turned into like, we weren't thinking that's the business. We were
Yeah.
thinking, we just need some support. And how cool would it be? And then it just
Mhm.
evolved into this thing. And it's so fulfilling. Like, I can even see when you're talking about it, you're like lighting up. It's so
Yeah.
amazing.
I just
Yeah.
listened to that podcast episode at the gym this morning.
Oh,
I loved it. Loved hearing the behind the scenes.
yeah. It's so cool how that happens. And I feel like that's, if you're building a business, I feel like the companies that are doing it without community, they are kind of setting themselves up for failure.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
so much easier if you have that community around you, and also,
Yes.
honestly, for your own brand, like, the brands with communities are the ones that are thriving because 'cause
Mhm.
they're bringing those people into, like, behind the scenes of building their business, and
Yeah.
consumers love that.
Exactly. That was actually a decision I made very early on in my
Mhm.
entrepreneurship journey of how am I wanting to lead this business? And it was either, be the shiny brands that people are admiring from afar and that everything is so perfect and just looking up to, or be the brand where transparency leads, where
Yeah.
vulnerability leads, where
Mhm.
where you get to take your audience on the journey with you and really be a part of the way that you're evolving. And so I chose the latter, and it's been a really beautiful experience.
Oh, I love that so much. So, I would love to take us back for a moment.
Mhm,
So, before everything shifted into the life that you live now,
mhm,
before having these two businesses, I know you kind of
mhm.
chatted a little bit about like what it was like coming up with the idea,
Yeah.
but what did your days sort of like actually feel like? Like, I know you said that temporarily you had these jobs that were kind of like itching that scratch for entrepreneurship, but what did it actually feel like?
Mm. There was definitely a lot of mornings where I woke up really upset. Dreading the day, absolutely miserable. I mean, the government job that I had actually left it after the first 2 years. It's interesting if you look back at my job history after 2 years of every job, that's when I would quit.
You're
I
like,
was like,
"Bye."
"Okay, I did it. Next, what's next?" I get
Yeah,
bored very easily.
yeah.
And with that job, it's actually a close to 2-year-long training program.
Wow.
So it's 9 to 12 months of, like, classroom setting training and then 9 to 12 months of on-the-job training,
Wow.
and so after that, you take a 3-day review, and then if you pass the review, then you're, like, an official permanent employee, and for my own ego, I was like, "I'm gonna take the 3-day review, pass it, and then quit."
Oh
That
my
was essentially what I did.
Wow, you're like, "I can do this. This is not why I'm quitting everyone," but
Right. And I did, and then I went to go find something that was a little bit more fulfilling, so in this, like, I don't know, 3-year gap between when I decided to go back to the organization, I was a flight attendant. I wanted to do
wow.
something fun. I wanted to do something that, like, lit me up again. But also in that time, I got pregnant twice.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I was probably a flight attendant for 5 years on paper, but I really flew, like, 2 years of my life
Okay.
because I was pregnant and on maternity leave, and just before really diving into entrepreneurship, it was just this craving of wanting to do something more meaningful,
Mhm.
right? Wanting to, again, build something that was bigger than myself, and I was going to this job that I got, honestly, because my mom applied to the job for me because it was a
Yeah.
good stable government job, but that I didn't feel like I felt like my potential was just being limited. Like, yes, I excelled at that job, but just because that was something that naturally I do, as humbly as I can say that, but not because it was something that I could really like tap into what my
Mhm.
innate skills were and what I wanted to create for myself. So it was really just me being on this hamster wheel, moving on
Mhm.
autopilot, just doing the things, just checking the boxes
Mhm.
with no real feeling of purpose.
Yeah. Oh, I can so relate. And it's interesting because there are people out there that, they can have a job. It doesn't have to fulfill them. They're fine doing that, clocking in, clocking out, and then living their life outside of work. And
Mhm.
for women like me and you, and for probably every single person listening to this podcast, like, we need to have that fulfillment at work. We spend more time at work than we do with our own babies. So, of course, we need that. So,
Mhm.
I hear you loud and clear. Like, it resonates so much. I feel that so much. So, you previously shared that you internalize a lot of external expectations around success, motherhood, business. You kind of like were the good girl you mentioned at the beginning and
Mhm.
followed that like path that society says you're supposed to. So, what were some examples? Like what did it look like for you in real life when you were kind of following those steps? And like were there moments where you were like, I can't take this anymore, like I need to figure something else out?
It was really to answer that last part of your question, I don't think it was a, "I can't take this anymore, I need to figure this out." It was kind of just me, like, balancing everyone else's expectations and needs of me with my own, right? That's why I
Okay.
would take these kind of side jobs of what actually worked for me
Mhm.
until it got to a point where I was a mom, I needed a more, like, stable career.
Mhm.
But there was just now I've lost my train of thought, but repeat what you said, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That was my fault. I learned this in coaching. I'm not supposed to ask
Too many questions.
stackable questions, they're called. um But you had mentioned before that you were, like,
There you go. Okay, the good girl.
internalizing these external
Yeah.
expectations that
Uh-huh.
society puts on you. So, like, what did that look like for you in real life?
Okay, so taking it back to even, like, going to college, I already knew that I didn't believe in college, but
Mhm.
that was the thing to do. That was just the next step after high school, right? I wanted to go to FITM. Again, I thought I was gonna be this I wanted to be a
Um,
fashion designer.
yeah.
I wanted to go to FITM, but I grew up in a very traditional household, so FITM was, quote, unquote, "not a real school," and I would,
Mhm.
quote, unquote, "not get a real job from it." So knowing kind of just growing up the way that I did, I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not even going to put another suggestion out there because I already know that there's something that's already planned out for me." So I essentially just put it into the hands of my mom. "Okay, what college do
Yeah.
you want me to go to?" And she told me, and I went to the same college as my sister, but I still majored in business and entrepreneurship because I knew
Okay.
ultimately that's where my path would lead. So again, kind of like scratching that itch a little bit, but
Yeah.
doing so within the confines of societal expectations.
Okay.
Even from there, I graduated college. I walked the stage not because I wanted to, but because I thought that that's what was expected
Mhm.
of me. I didn't even like walk with my class or whatever because I'm like, I'm just here. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah.
And then also getting that government job. I
Mhm.
told when it was presented to me, I was like, that sounds absolutely boring. I was not going to apply. My mom applied to the job for me. I said yes to the job because there was a gym in the building. I said, okay, cool, sold. Again, just like, yes, sure, I'll do whatever it is that you need.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where, I was a mom and I felt like I had checked enough boxes for me to give myself permission to start checking off my own. And it was a
Okay.
very conscious choice to say, okay, I'm going to start living life my way now.
Amazing. It's so wild how motherhood changes perspective. Like,
Mhm.
that moment, like, was that decision scary for you after you had made that conscious decision? Like, I'm gonna start living life on my terms?
Yes and no. It wasn't as scary as actually leaving my job, which I did in March of last year.
Okay.
It was a little bit scary in that obviously in launching your own business, there is
Mhm.
risk involved, and
Mhm.
especially launching a product-based business and tying up a lot of money in inventory unless you're a maker and you can do a lot of small batch things. That is scary financially because you have a lot of financial obligations as a mom. Kids are
Oh
expensive.
my
It's
god, they are.
wild how expensive they are. So that was a little bit scary, but I think I was really more excited than anything because that was the first time I was really allowing myself to give myself permission to just fully bet on me, not just in the
Mhm.
small ways of the side hustles and the small projects, but to really dive in and say, I'm doing this, I'm calling the shots, and we're going to do things my way and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Amazing. That's the best perspective to have too. It's like if you're gonna go all in, you might as well be excited and have fun doing it because if
Mhm.
not, what's the point?
Yeah.
Um, but did you have to let go of anything first before you went all in? Like any limiting beliefs, any sort of like fears? Did you have to kind of like get past that before you could do it or you were just like I'm going for it?
I've had plenty of pep talks with myself, don't get me wrong. It was kind of like evolving. I'm actually slowly writing a book that will encompass
Amazing.
all of these pep talks that I'm excited to share whenever that happens. I'm in no rush to do that. But it was definitely a conversation of, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to commit fully to it. And I was kind of tackling the fears head on and
Mhm.
allowing myself to say, shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, things are not gonna go your way, Crystal, and you have to be okay with that, and I was
Mhm.
committing to myself early on. And so this is the advice that I always give other entrepreneurs that are just starting out because a lot of people say, "Just start, just start, just start." And I say, "Yes, start, but also start by committing to yourself first
Mhm.
that you are gonna continue to show up, especially when it gets hard."
Yeah. 'Cause
Right?
there's no doubt it will get hard. There's
Mhm,
entrepreneurship and building a business is hard. It just
mhm,
really, I believe, matters like, again, how much fun you're having. Like,
mhm,
can you have fun and love what you're doing
mhm.
while also it being challenging and hard? Because I
Yeah.
do think 2 things can be true at the same time.
I
So,
agree. I love that you brought fun into the mix. When we were promoting our summit last year, that was like one of the biggest things that I was pushing. Like, we're going to have so much fun together.
yeah.
Because I think we've gotten to a point, like, as we get older, we start taking ourselves so seriously
Yeah,
that
I
we don't know
know.
how to have fun anymore, and that we
And
feel like we need to keep on going and keep on hustling and keep on pushing, but fun is part of the strategy, because if you don't allow yourself that time and space for one, to just get clarity and to stop being in consumption mode and in comparison mode and all the things, but to allow yourself to have space to just release, to just
Mhm.
be, and to just reground into who you naturally are, that is powerful.
It
That's how you
is.
continue to move forward with the motivation and, like, initial inspiration that you had to launch to begin with.
So true. I couldn't agree more. And I also feel like, what a great example too as a mother,
Mm,
like, showing your kids you're not only building your business, running your business, but you're also having fun and you're doing what you wanna do on your terms, like, you're directly showing your children that they
mhm.
can also do that.
Yeah,
Whatever path they choose for themselves, they are allowed to do that. It's
yeah,
okay to do that, and they can also have fun. Because I don't know about you, but when I was little and I looked up to, like, the adults in my life, not a lot of people were having fun when they were working, like, they came home exhausted and in a bad mood, so yeah.
yeah. I tell people this all the time, but I really look at the work that I do as a form of self-care. And I think
Mhm.
that we should all do that. And 100% yes to being that living, breathing role model to not only the people around us, but to future generations. And again, that was something that I didn't have, right? So
Yeah.
when we had that first market in May of 2022, I got to bring my two girls. And that in and of itself was just a very surreal experience for me to just be able to expose them to a
Mhm.
different way of doing life, to other women that were pursuing something that made them so happy. And they were defining success for themselves. And I mean, it probably wasn't a very like profound moment for the girls,
Yeah.
but for me to bring them there and just expose them to that, whether it is affecting them indirectly or not, was really special, and now they love coming to events.
I
All
love
the time, they're wanting to come to my events, and we squeeze them in all the time, and,
that.
someone mentioned it to me after our very first summit in 2024. because I took the stage. It was my first time delivering a keynote. My kids were there. They were just like in this little room the whole time. And at the end, one of my oldest daughter really wanted to come on stage with me. And someone said to me, "You're getting to show them that this is normal."
Ugh, I
And I was
love
like,
that.
I didn't even think of it that way,
Yeah,
but it is.
it
So
is.
if they wanna grow up and take up space and be on stage and, like, be this amazing, like, well-known person, they're able to do that, and it's not scary, right?
Yeah.
All of these big audacious things that if they weren't exposed to it, that might have felt out of reach, now they're gonna grow up, that's normal. "Oh, yeah, I can do that. No big
Yeah.
deal."
Yeah, you're showing them what's possible, which
Mhm,
actually, when you were talking about how growing up you were not surrounded by entrepreneurs,
mhm,
I feel like that's so rare that, like, usually you need people around you to show you what's possible, but
mhm,
somehow, some way, you still were able to kinda, like, go down this path that you really wanted to go down, even without really having these, like, firsthand examples right in front of you of what's
mhm.
possible, so that's incredible.
Yeah,
So
I feel like I need to do a little bit of deeper digging to figure out where that really stems from. I wonder what I was watching back then.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I feel like that's, like, one of the biggest benefits of being in community, like, in your
Mhm,
community, I'm sure, in my community, I'm in other female entrepreneur communities too that I go to,
mhm.
and just being able to see, because we have down days, and there's
Yeah,
days where, I'm sort of like, "Is this really gonna work? Like, what
mhm,
am I doing?" Those kinds of thoughts pop in, and then I go to one of these events, or I go to a mastermind meeting, or I go to some networking call, and I'm hearing what these women are doing, and I'm like, "Okay, if they can do it, I can do it." It's like they're pumping
mhm.
energy back into me, and I'm seeing what's possible.
Isn't
So,
that beautiful?
it's so cool. Like, it's just amazing.
And there was this moment, and for anyone that still experiences those moments of doubt or imposter syndrome, we all go through it, we really do. We all go through it. And there was this moment that I was invited to be a speaker at this conference, I was really excited about it, and then I go into one of the networking calls before the event, and most of the speakers know each other, and been doing this for years, and they're making boatloads of money, and I'm like, Am I in the right room? Like, am I supposed to be here?"
Yeah.
And there was that kind of slight hesitation and feeling of imposter syndrome until I quickly reframed my thought and said, that gets to be me. And how
Mhm.
cool is it that I've created this for myself that I get to be in rooms like this?
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. And also thinking sometimes, like, they all also had that first moment.
Mhm,
And for the most part, I will say, like, whenever I'm the newest person in a room of female entrepreneurs, like, you immediately get the vibe of, like, okay, these are the women I want to surround myself with.
mhm,
Even if they're more experienced and farther along, like, they are going to take you in because they've been there themselves.
mhm,
So, but I love that reframe so much. That's so
mhm.
powerful.
It really is.
So, as you were kind of going through this journey of creating your business, starting this community, getting it up and off the ground, you have three small children. Did anything surprise you about the process?
I think everything continues to surprise me. If I'm being honest, because now I'm also coaching some of these women. That was never on my horizon. When I launched
Yeah.
Inspired by Women, it was never on my horizon to turn it into a business. Book of Bijou really has become more of like the passion project now because I've been pouring all of my time and energy into Empowered by Women and the women I'm supporting through my one-to-one offer. So I think the best thing has just been this evolution of myself internally
Mhm.
and continuing to surprise myself in the way that I'm letting go of certain things, right? That I've let go of perfectionism, which is I was very much a perfectionist when I was younger. I was very much
Mhm.
in people pleasing mode. But the way that I continue to just strengthen the trust in myself
Mhm.
and the confidence in myself and allowing myself to just move and be in this season of surrender and trust, which I never thought I would be able to be in, but it's been a really beautiful experience, and to see all of those seeds that I've planted and all the work that I've been doing really starting to come to fruition now and, like, opportunities rolling in, it's just, like, beautiful surprises here and there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's also like for any of the newer, early stage founders now or newer entrepreneurs that are listening, it is all of the work that you're putting in now, like in your
Mhm.
early stages of business. Some days you're going to feel defeated, and some days you're going to feel like, is this really working? Is what I'm doing actually like doing anything? Is it moving the needle? But
Mhm.
it compounds. And like now, like Crystal, how far are you into with Empowered by Women now? Like,
So we've been in existence since 2022, the beginning of
okay.
2022, but we really started solidifying and structuring in 2024. So
Okay.
I still consider ourselves a fairly new community.
Yeah.
And I think I was actually just doing something recently and I was cleaning up our membership database because we're getting really, really honed in on like our structures and our systems behind the scenes. And I was looking at how long some of our women have been members, and that was surprising to me to be like, "Oh my gosh, this person has been with us since the very, very
How
beginning."
cool. Yeah, it's wild, but it does go to show, like, all that work that you did at the very beginning, like, it's still paying off for you. It's
Mhm.
not just, "Okay, it got you to this place, and then the next thing's getting you to the next stage." It's sort of like it compounds, and you still reap the benefits
Yeah.
many years later. So, that's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, I can't wait for you to see what's on the horizon because we have a lot of things up our sleeve. It's gonna be a fun year.
Okay, so I wanna talk about Empowered by Women. I wanna hear all about it, share about what the space represents and
Mhm.
why it felt so important for you to create it.
Okay. I'm gonna do my best to not reveal the secret that I'm holding on to. 'Cause I'm very excited for it. So, Empowered by Women is truly there's 3 ways that we support our women, and it's in bringing them more visibility, so we do this a few different ways. It started with our markets, and it was a surprise also that, I recognized that we were starting to attract a lot of service-based providers, which I
Mm,
did not expect, so that was one of our surprises since we hosted markets. Typically, it's not a lot of service providers that
mhm.
will be a part of your markets, but a lot of them were the ones that were wanting the more high touch point support, right?
Got it.
Be a part of the mastermind calls and all of that. So visibility with our markets, visibility also now that we have a lot of speakers, service providers is that they're wanting to do more speaking engagements. So
Mhm,
we host a lot of events where we put our speakers in as our members in as the speakers, and we also are trying to connect more and more with other event organizers to plug our speakers into them and
mhm.
almost act as like this unofficial speakers bureau.
Love it.
We're building out our media partners as well so that our members can also be featured in magazines. I
Mhm.
used to think that magazines were reserved for like the Oprahs and the
Yeah,
Beyoncés of the world. And then in my own journey, I realized how actually it can be pretty easy to be
yeah,
featured in different publications. So I said, I need everyone to know about this because stop selling yourself short. You could absolutely have your story in a magazine today. So
yeah.
I'm going to be continuing to break down those barriers and bring the visibility that they deserve to our members. So
Mhm,
that's the first aspect of it. And well, actually, to build on that, because so many of our members were wanting to do more speaking engagements, we also have a speaker incubator now where we have in house speaking coaches. We have a self presentation mastery expert. We have a wardrobe consultant. So if they book a
cool.
speaking engagement, they're really getting supported,
Yeah,
very, very well rounded.
love it.
From there, it's about just creating more access to education and resources and that proximity to different experts without
Mhm,
the high price tag. I really don't believe you should have to spend tens of thousands of dollars just to
mhm.
get the support that you need. Do
Yeah,
I believe high ticket mentors are worth it? Absolutely. But you shouldn't have to feel like you have to spend that money just to get
yeah.
an ounce of support, just to be in community. So it's about how do we continue to build out this really robust network where that support is at the tip of your fingertips.
Oh, I love that so much, and I love how intentional you are about building out these different components of your community.
Mhm.
So
Oh my gosh,
amazing.
a lot of things on the horizon. And then from there, it really is just continuing to just build out these spaces where we can cultivate genuine connection. Because as we've been kind of talking about in this episode, community is everything. And I truly believe when you can build those connections, that will move the needle further than anything else, any other strategy that you could possibly put into place for your business.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Like, it really blows my mind that we got on this call and, like, we already kind of knew who we were, like, who each
Yeah.
other were, but, like, just through community. just
Mhm.
through like the people in our circles and who we know. And those are the women who are like lifting you up and speaking about you and promoting you when you're not in the room.
Mhm.
Like,
And we all want that, right? We all
yeah,
need that. And
yeah,
that's what I talk about it with my, like, sustainable visibility strategy clients as well. Like, that is why collaboration and community is so important, because why not have other people speaking on your behalf? That is literally no lift for you.
yeah, exactly. So good. Oh, well, I'm so excited to hear all of the surprises. I'm going to definitely be keeping an eye out for that. So, when you were building out this community, again, I love how intentional it sounds like you were with building out all of these different elements of your community. But how did you want the women to feel inside that space? Is there sort of like this vibe or this feeling that the women in your community just inherently have?
In the beginning, it was very much like what I always craved, right? To be a part of something bigger than themselves. So that was
Hmm.
a lot of kind of the energy that I was bringing into it when I was speaking about the platform. Like, you get to be a part of this really amazing thing that we're building. You get to like come in on the ground floor and help build it with us, and to let them feel like they're a part of also something bigger than themselves. And now it's really just doubling down on the fact that they can come in and feel like they've belonged here all along,
Mhm.
that it is a safe space. It doesn't matter how long they've been in business, how much money they've made, what industry they're in. We are all genuinely here to support each other, to learn from each other. There is no hierarchy. Like, I can learn from you just as much as you can learn from me. And it doesn't matter which industries we're in. Like, our mastermind is amazing because everyone is from different industries, but there's still
Mhm.
so many gems that we can pull from each other. And
Mhm.
just being able to be in that genuine of a space, I think, is so special. And something that I was saying a lot last year is that the space that we've created within the community is so sacred.
Mhm.
Sacred was never one of the words in my vocabulary
Yeah.
until I really realized just how special what we're creating is. And
Mhm.
Summit 2025 was definitely a testament to that. You can just feel it with the women in the room. And a lot of our speakers, some of them were nervous at first. And then once they got into the room and they were, just immersed in the space, they were like, I actually feel really
Feel
calm. I feel really
good.
good.
Yeah, they felt supported and safe, I'm sure.
Yeah. And
So
it's
good.
it's just about being like, it's sisterhood. It truly is.
Love that. So, you said you quit your job in March, so you've gone fully all in on yourself. You're approaching a year now.
Mhm.
How are you feeling? Are you making decisions differently? Like, what
Mhm.
feels different in this season than prior?
So leaving in March was tough. I'm not even a crier. I cried so much that week.
Really?
It was always in the plans to leave my job, but never that soon. It
Got it.
was always like, once the business is a little bit more financially stable, then I'm going to go ahead and leave. But just with how tumultuous the government was,
Mhm.
and because I had a new baby in tow and I was still nursing, I was teleworking full time. And ultimately, long story short, they gave me 48 hours notice to be on site full time.
Oh,
I know.
no.
And I said, I am not going to do that. So you need to either accommodate me or I'm quitting. They did not accommodate me. I literally, maybe a few months prior to that, took on like 30 employees, and I gave them 2 hour notice that was my last
Wow.
day.
Oh,
2 hour notice. And I said, I'm going to be here for the next 2 hours if you guys need me, need me for anything. Half of
2
them had
hours.
already gone home for the day.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was wild.
Yeah.
So 2025 was a huge roller coaster for me,
Yeah,
just
I'm
emotionally
sure.
with the business. It was really exciting to be able to go full time with entrepreneurship, but then at the same time, my partner actually worked with me, or I worked with him at the agency, and so a couple months later, he had to go in full time from being teleworking. So
Oh, wow.
even though I was now full time, I now also had to take care of pickup and drop off every single day for the kids.
Yeah,
And since I'm working from home, I'm also technically like, I'm the default parent when they're home from
right.
school for holidays, vacations, if they're sick.
Mhm.
And so I started this year a momming tracker where every weekday that they're home, I'm just putting a little dot. I'm very curious because I'm like, you guys were home all of 2025.
Yeah. You're like, the fact that I even got my business to where it is literally, like,
It's a miracle.
superhuman.
It's a miracle. It's amazing. Um, so yes, now I feel like I mean, I there was this quote that I heard a few months ago that I really, really loved. I wish I could remember it verbatim, but it was to make decisions like you have something to prove within a year, or like make bold, quick decisions like you have something to prove within a year, but build like you're going to be here for
Mhm.
generations.
I love
I
that.
said that. So it's been an interesting mix of wanting to build all of the foundational systems because I know that we're going to be here for generations to come and we
Mhm.
are building a legacy, and legacy requires foundation. But also, how do we also prioritize revenue? Because I'm a mom of three and I live in the Bay
Right.
Area and it's crazy expensive. So
Yep.
it's been that kind of like interesting like juggle, and then
Mhm.
also like throwing in this past couple of months, I've been in the season of surrender and trust. How do you be in a season of surrender and trust when you also know you need to prioritize revenue? So
Yep.
kind of just constantly navigating
Oh,
all of that.
this topic has come up so much lately. For me, like this
Mhm,
resonates a lot with me personally. And then for some of the women in my mastermind as well, they're going through similar
mhm,
seasons where it's like really kind of a skill that you learn as an entrepreneur, where it
mhm,
is how do you juggle? What is the priority for the now without letting like the long-term effects, you
mhm,
know, because you wanna build for the long term, you know you're here to stay. You're not
mhm,
leaving, but also,
mhm.
like, you do need to have money to live and, like,
Yeah,
feed your children and live a life that you love, so it is a constant juggle, but it
mhm.
sounds like you've done a really good job figuring it out, so
Thank you. Still very much figuring it out. One thing that I am being very, very intentional with this year that I never could do as a mom that was also in a day job and trying to juggle everything. But now I'm being very intentional with my time blocking so that I
Mhm.
can make sure that all of those things are being addressed to the priority that I want to address them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't do time blocking, but something similar. I do
Mhm.
themed days where
I do
it's
that.
like, okay, yeah. So, but then, yeah, then it's like the kids get home from school or like yesterday I had to pick up my daughter early because she was sick. And so also kind of like building in buffers for like
Yep.
a realistic week. And if they don't come home sick we have a normal quote unquote week, then I have extra
Mhm.
time to do extra things. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
been interesting for
Yeah.
sure. And then even with just like the way that I've shifted the availability of my calendar over the past year has been very interesting because sometimes I completely open it up and sometimes I'm like, nope, removing that, removing that, removing
Yeah.
that, removing that. Because
Yes.
at the very beginning, I was constantly on calls and collaborating with
Yeah.
everyone, and it was beautiful and it built a lot of momentum for us. But as you continue to build, you have to recognize that you can't be that available because you do have to work on the structural things.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that ask me to like, oh, let's go out for coffee. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Just don't
And
have
it's
the
hard. It's hard to learn how to say no because it's
yeah.
not something like you want to, like we
Mhm,
want to have these connections and go out for coffee, but is it realistic? No, because we
mhm,
also have all these other things to do.
mhm.
And we also want to be with our families and our kids. And like if we're saying yes to you, that's less time with our kids essentially.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. Um, okay, so now you coach women through this same shift from sort of like performing to embodying. What do you see most women struggling with when it comes to this visibility and leadership?
There's a couple of things. When I first started the coaching offer, it really was outward visibility that I was going to be focusing on. Like how do you create these really powerful collaborations? How do you start layering strategic partnerships into your strategy? And that's all great and well. Sometimes a lot of things that I see are that we get that shiny object syndrome, and a lot of people in my world are wanting to like jump into these social media challenges and like they are stuck in this trap of feeling like they have to post X number of times, X number of days, whatever that looks like, where really the beauty is in the relationships that you're building outside of it, right? And
Mhm.
it's not necessarily the frequency of how you're posting, but what is the intention behind it? And
Mhm.
what is the systems that surrounds your frequency that actually support it so it feels sustainable and it doesn't
Mhm.
feel like another just task on your to-do list.
Mhm.
So that's one of them. Another is that they were lacking a lot of brand clarity.
Mhm.
And this is now where we start. And let's get very, very clear in terms of who you are, who you serve, how you serve them, why you serve them, and what your full brand ecosystem looks like. Because if you don't have this clarity, it doesn't matter how many times you're showing up. You're showing up and not making an impact. And that's not what
Mhm.
we want.
Yep.
We want to for you to know why you're showing up, right? Who are you talking to so that the people receiving your message can be like, "Oh, okay, this is what she does. This is how she can help me."
Mhm.
And so getting clear on that allows you to feel really good about the content that you're creating and also understand where your energy is best served. Is that by
Mhm.
pumping out more content or is that actually by focusing on more in person events,
Mhm.
right? Focusing on partnering with different organizations, focusing on podcasting. Once you get
Mhm.
really clear on what it is that you're trying to create for yourself and the vehicle that is going to be used to create that, then you can create something that's more sustainable and that's not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and
Mhm.
just listening to the next like social media guru that you see and was like, "Oh, this is going to be the game changer." There
Right.
is no one solution. You have to get really clear on who you are and how you naturally operate and then leverage that.
Hey there, I'm jumping in real quick because I feel like you might need a little push, a little nudge to help your business grow in a way that actually feels stable, sustainable, and spacious. I'm flipping through my private client messages right now inside Telegram and Circle, which is where I support my one on one clients and my mastermind members every single day. And just in the last few weeks alone, I've helped a trademark attorney redesign her client experience after the sale. So her clients now feel supported during an 8-month waiting period instead of sitting there anxious and disengaged. I helped another client map a simple post delivery touch point and ongoing support option, which took her from clients finishing their service and disappearing, completely ghosting her, to clients rolling straight into a recurring service instead of starting from zero every month. Another client came in selling one off services. And once we clarified the next step inside her client journey, even with a one off service, she stopped relying on constant new leads and started retaining clients longer with way less effort. The right systems after the sale do more than grow your revenue. They give you actual time back in your day. They reduce follow up. They prevent things from falling through the cracks and make your clients feel taken care of without you needing to be everywhere for everyone. That means you get more time with your kids, more space to take a vacation, and more room to focus on parts of the business that will actually move the needle. When you work with me one on one, I will fully audit your customer journey. We will take a look at your onboarding, communication gaps, retention strategy, and where clients are quietly dropping off or disengaging. Then we'll build simple systems and intentional touch points that support your clients and protect your time. So if you're making sales but feel like things are leaking post sale, or you want your business to grow without demanding more of you, it might be time to invest in support. So let's see if one on one support is a fit. There's a link in my bio to book a quick clarity call to walk through where your business is at and what would help most right now. Either way, you'll leave with actionable takeaways. You can schedule anytime, and I'd love to chat with you. Yeah, I love that. There's no one size fits all either because it depends on you as your unique self,
Mhm.
and how the message you want to get across. I completely agree. Like, especially with the social media thing, it's like a lot of people get caught up in that trap of I just have to post, 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 post. And you're just like throwing out, you don't even know what. It doesn't even mean anything. And then you're getting followers that actually aren't following you for what you really want them to be following you for. Whereas you could be doing a different method that serves you better
Mhm.
and is going to bring you actually the clients that are going to be your dream client.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
always know that's what I say. I'm like, if you're looking for virality, that I am not your girl. That is
Yeah.
not what I'm here to help you create. I
Yeah.
am here to help you create long-term success, and that takes time. I am
Mhm.
here to help you build relationships, true relationships, and that takes time,
Yeah.
and you have to be willing to put that time in. So I
Mhm.
was previously just offering a 6-month container, and now I'm like, we're gonna do a 12-month container also because this takes work. And again, I'm here to help you build legacy, not just land your next one client.
Yeah. No, that makes so much sense. So I want you to share to the community where everyone can find
Mhm.
um, empowered by women. Sorry, I'm gonna cut that part out.
That's okay.
So I want you to share with everyone that's listening where they can find empowered by women so that they can start to kind of follow you, get in your world. How do they find you?
So you can connect with us on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram, Empowered by Women. There's no punctuation. Women is spelled WMN. That's also our website, empoweredbywomen.com. And then also on the strategy side of things, my handle is I am Krystal J, Krystal spelled with a K, and krystaljugarap.com is my website.
Love it. And when is the 2026 summit? Have you announced that yet?
Yes, September 12th in the Bay Area. Block out your
Ooh.
calendars now. It is going to be amazing. You will not want to miss out, Natalie. I hope you can join us.
I want to. And I
Ooh,
just feel like, well, for me, I'm in LA. I could drive there. Like it's
yeah.
really not that far.
Okay. Block out your calendar. We're going to have so much fun. We had so much fun last year and it's just going to keep getting better.
Yes, and I love that the vibe is fun. That makes such a difference for me, and yeah, if I'm going somewhere, I wanna have fun, so
No, we're going to have fun. All right. So, everyone listening, block out your calendars. Tickets are going to go up soon. So, get in the loop.
awesome, amazing. So before we wrap things up, I like to end with a few rapid fire questions.
Ooh, okay.
They're just a lot of fun. So, speaking of fun, what is one thing that you like to do every day that brings fun into your life?
So, this is kind of funny, but I've been playing Roblox
Okay. Did your
because
kids get you into it?
my kids have been begging me for the longest time to play Roblox, and I was like, "Fine, let me just play." I picked one game. It's called Steal the Boo Boo. I was never into this whole Labubu trend. It was just the first game that I picked, and then I got like kind of obsessed. So I somehow it just always ends up part of my day, and I'm like, "This is why you can't ask me to play games because then I get too attached to it."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like, well, you know what? It's like, I guess better than scrolling. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
and they get to play with me, so they love it.
True. Okay. Yeah. That's a silver lining. What do you drink coffee?
I do drink coffee.
What is your go-to coffee order?
I'm probably gonna get a lot of judgment for this because I am like a faux coffee drinker. I'm not like I like the sweet stuff,
Okay.
honestly. So
Okay.
I buy just the pre-made, like I don't even remember what the brand is called, but it's like a mocha flavored brand. And then I recently discovered cold foam creamer and
Oh,
it's been
so good.
amazing. So I do like a cold mocha, pre-made mocha, and then some cold foam on top at home, and it's just perfect.
I did not know you could buy it and have it at home.
Yes, and I
That's
was like, "Oh my gosh,
amazing.
we're buying some every single time we go to the store, and we're just gonna be stocked up."
Yeah. No, it just makes the coffee like so smooth.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, and then I ask everyone this question, but what is something you're working on currently that is lighting you up from the inside out?
Everything was empowered by women, honestly. We recently moved to Circle, which I am loving
I
that
love Circle.
platform. Love it so much. And so just like getting more and more of our members like involved and connected with each other, that always inspires me so much. That and then also I'm doing more and more speaking engagements, podcasts included, but also I've been like getting invites to different conferences, which is really exciting. So just seeing already the trajectory of that for this year is something I'm celebrating for myself.
Love it. I'm celebrating you too. That's so amazing, and congrats.
Thank you.
Um, well, I am gonna link all of the information for where everyone can find you, where they can find Empowered by Women, how they can follow along and buy tickets for your summit that's gonna be in September, so everyone keep an eye out for that. And yeah, just thank you so much for taking the time to be here and sharing your story. I'm so glad that we finally got the opportunity to meet and connect. And I'm just excited to follow along and see what happens for you this year.
Oh my gosh. Same, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Light Her Up. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take steps towards a life better than you ever dreamed. I see you, I hear you, and I'm so proud of you for showing up and prioritizing your journey. When you fill up your cup with love, you can pour so much more into the people and passions that matter to you most. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed, left a review, and shared it with someone who could use a little extra light. For more, connect with me on Instagram at The Light Within Collective. I'm sending you my love, and I'll catch you on the next episode.